First, I'd really like to find out, in your best opinion, what are the most common issues that you're seeing at the moment and your team are seeing?
So some of the most common that we see is simply that it's not very polished off. You get a lot of C3s. So for example, you may be looking at your consumer unit, sometimes it's called a DB, distribution board, and you're actually looking at the circuits. What you find is some of them may not be labeled, may not be named. You may find that you might have 3 socket circuits, for example, in a 3-bed house. You might have a separate circuit for your kitchen, one for your upstairs and one for your downstairs. And you may find that the labeling on the board just says sockets, sockets, sockets. So there's little things like that that's not going to, raise a big risk, a big issue, because that's what it's doing. But it's good to get those identified, because if there's a problem, you can then look further and you can do it quicker. Some of the other things is just general wear and tear as well. So, the switches on sockets and light switches, they just don't operate sort of securely and safely, and they don't make a good sort of latch. Older sockets, they become loose. So what happens is when you plug your plug in, there should be a little bit of resistance, because it's basically it's brass or copper and it's pushing on those pins. It's a slide connector. But as the more worn they get, the socket becomes loose in there. Now what will happen is eventually that will become too loose. That will be a point of heat buildup. And again, that's a risk of fire. Other things is actually bad installation practices. It's actually probably, if I had to single one thing out, it would be that. It would be kitchen fitters saying we can do electrics, bathroom fitters stripping out bonding when they shouldn't be. They think the new regulations say we don't need bonding. The problem is the installation age that they're working on does need it. So they're refitting these bathrooms, they're taking out the cable for the scrapyard, and actually we're going in to check and we're saying it's failed. You've got, your lighting circuit doesn't have RCD protection, or your shaver's sort of in the wrong position, or whatever they've done during the refurb. And they think, oh, we don't, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Of course, when we're going in now and inspecting these, the landlords are going, well, it was new 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 3 years ago. And so, yeah, bad installation practices is something that's very prominent.